Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Trying to get some things started there. How's everybody's Saturday doing? A little bit gloomy here today. I'm gonna warm this up here, warm everybody up here a little bit. I guess with some Spline Design Studios Saturday. Gonna continue some work on what we started last week. Gonna consider this episode 2, I guess, of the ongoing creation, I guess, of our pit stall object for Northworks Worlds. Bright and sunny and 80 there. That's good for you. I think it barely got out of 60s here today. That's good for you, yeah. All kinds of funky weather going on today. Alright, so just getting some things set up here. I know I'm running a little bit late. I apologize for that. Got the techno music's going in there, so I'm just making sure the audio levels and everything is good to go. If the audios do happen to be too loud, please do let me know. I'll adjust those accordingly. Can't hear them, they're too loud, can't hear me. Still trying to shake the rust off, I guess, of the streaming thing here. So, yeah. Alright, announcements are going out there. Twitters and all that have been notified, so everybody should know that we are here. Feel free to come on their leisure. Alright, so let's bring this over. The latest thing that we got going on here, and I had to start over on this. I want to make this abundantly clear too. I had started placing these this pit jig to start pinpointing, I guess, the pit stall locations to apply to the track I guess, for the track. And it came to find out that I was a little bit off, I guess, as far as placing these down. So I basically what I did just started over again. And it's probably going to be better this way to kind of show the entire process. I know I've shown this before, as far as placing the jig down and getting in here, but it's much more complicated. There's a lot more involved with it when it's a curved pit stall, curved pit road like this happens to be for this track build. So that's kind of why I wanted to kind of show the whole thing instead of just kind of skip over it, to kind of glaze over it. So I think it's really important to understand that this is not, it's not a point and click type of thing. It's just click and you're done. I mean, it can be. One of the methods I did use, I guess, on top of saying that, one of the methods I did use, if anybody is familiar with a lot of the sandbox utilities that come with that package, is the Make Stalls utility, which basically takes an LP, possibly like your pit LP that you would use, and you would make an LP based on going through the pits, and then it would roughly guesstimate as far as like where that pit stall location is based on the start and end point that you plug into it, right? So that is one of the ways that I did try to, apply it, and then just use the pit jig, I guess, as a secondary. But when I came to find out is the numbers I initially plugged in there were off. So, not saying that the almost seems like this is a little too loud. I'm gonna turn this down just a tad. Just a tad. There we go. That should be a little better. Now, like I said, with all that said, it's like that's not the wrong way to use that Make Stalls. Probably the main point to make with using the Make Stalls utility that comes with the sandbox is the fact that if you have things like openings in your pit road, that's not a very good utility, and that's one of the things that I've goofed up on as far as doing it that way, because this is not a pit stall, this is just an opening, and there's another one that's further down, and that's what goofed me up when I did it that way. My initial thought was to, at least be able to get a baseline for that, and it kind of works in a way, but once you get to these areas there you don't want a pit stall, it's going to still include that area when you use that Make Stall utility. So grandstand layout, cool. I saw you did some of the garage, garage area. That infield object that you did too, as far as that to take care of that gap or that drop, I guess, behind the pit wall. That was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty wicked. You have, I don't know if that's a final texture. I meant to chime in on that too, as far as if that's that rock or them stones or whatever that you have on that banking of sorts, I guess, for that infield objects. Yeah, and that's fine. I figure I would get with you, I guess, in a bit. You know, it's not crucial like that. I figured whatever you're working on, it's not going to step on what I'm trying to do. So, I figured that's, in due time, yeah, we can collaborate together and make sure we got, we're on the same page there. So, but yeah, I wanted to kind of just go through this. And it's a very tedious process to do it this way, but I like, right, and that's what I figured, James. You know, as far as working outside, that's the beauty of being able to collab in the fashion that we do. You know what you can step on and what, which each of us can step on and what you can't in order to. From what I took it from last week when we did it, we came to the conclusion that the geometry was otherwise, pretty much good to go. There wasn't any major adjustments, so that I just chugged along as far as making these pit stalls. Now I did apply these, that's pretty much what I showed last week, to get these pit stall lines in here. A couple things that'll probably have to be adjusted yet. I guess I have one of these pit jigs in place, and I'll go over that here in a minute. All these lines here are an object based on the DAE of the geometry of the track, the LiDAR or what have you. So that's why you see we've shown this before too. It's just like you're going to get, for lack of a better way to put it, you're going to get a difference in how the texture presents itself when it's in a spline, like an F section or whatever, as compared to an object. And really the only thing to do like that is just adjust the texture that you're using for that to match. And that's not really that difficult. We've done that for pit walls and things like that in the past. So this still needs to be adjusted as far as that texture. And there are some minor adjustments still need to make to these pit stall outlines yet as well. This one here, there's supposed to be one like right about in here. It's a little bit. Zealous Zam coming in with the raid. Welcome everybody from Zam's raid. Zealous Zam, how we doing there, Zam? Oh my goodness, that's cool. Welcome everybody from Zam's stream. What are we playing today, Zam? I didn't get a chance to. I always miss your. It's like I noticed Twitch is having a little bit of issues too. Checking out the channel, I've got it currently up there as I speak. I don't have any of my followed channels coming up on my channel. Was trying Atomic Crops. That sounds new. Is that a new indie game? That sounds interesting. You play a lot of those interesting games. You've done that Don't Starve Together, and I think I'm saying that right. Yeah, it is indie. That's what I figured. Yeah, I've noticed you played a lot of those types of games like that. That's pretty cool. Right. Yeah, that's one of the things I like about what you've got going on over there, Zam, as far as playing a lot of those games. Like, this might be interesting to try. I'll be honest though, I haven't played a lot. I have tried Don't Starve Together. You really got to play that with somebody. That's kind of more of a MP game. Like a collabor. I know you usually play it with Night Whisper. You guys have a blast with that thing. That's fun. That's cool. Well, welcome everybody. Who we got in here? Roland Rizlas. I hope I'm saying that name right. Vote kick. No. There's none of that here. Message vote was nice one, Zam. No, we don't ban the Zam here. That's kind of somewhat of a rhyme there. I didn't do that on purpose. That's a roll off the tongue. We don't ban the Zam here. But yeah, just to kind of give everybody a bit of a clue of what I got going on here. We're being a little creative today. Doing a little bit of track design, track building, if you will, I guess, in our sandbox utility for a racing simulation known as NASCAR Racing 2003 season. And yes, I did say that right, 2003. It's an old game, it's an old simulation. but there's plenty of following. You know, a lot of people looking for new content for an otherwise old game. This week it's been making fun of Destiny. The game Destiny, you mean? Why would you want to make fun of Destiny? Or is that somebody in particular that you're talking about there, Roland Rizlis? And please let me know if I'm saying that name wrong. I'm just kind of sounding it out. So if I'm saying your name wrong, don't let me call me out on that. I haven't seen anything but good things with Destiny. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, are we talking about the game? I hope, because I know there's that out there. All right, just looking at a couple things here, so one of the things that I did point out that does need to be adjusted on this yet, like I said, the actual appearance of this texture for our objects. This is an object here that I'm trying to apply here. This is what we're laying down the pit stall outlines, I guess, for our track, and this is in an outline. Let me see if I could put this in object view. I kind of show this. So this bounding box here, let's see, is that the infield or is that, let me see. Yep, that's the infield. There's only a couple different objects here. I got the pit stall jig, which I'm going to be using in a second. This object here is actually our object, so that's our bounding box for it, which is all these little white lines that outline each individual stall for each car as far as where they pit. So yeah, one of the things I was pointing out, just to kind of go over it again, is we need to adjust the texture for this object, for all these lines, as well as there's still some adjustments to be made in 3ds Max or whatever to adjust. There should be one right about here, so it's a little bit below the geometry yet, so that's going to have to be adjusted. And there's a couple other places too, and I've already checked these in game too. As far as in the simulation, I've done that off stream as whatever to verify that these lines do actually need to be adjusted. So yeah, there is that. Okay, so just going through all this, most of these lines here on the straight are fine. It's where it tends to get really wonky is when we get to these curves, and that's to be expected. That's just the nature of how these types of things work in building the tracks for this simulation. So, but I've definitely found it much easier to apply our pit stall lines in this fashion rather than to do it in the traditional way, which isn't wrong, to apply them each individually one by one through what's considered the track surface decal layer, I guess, as far as this utility. So if I go into this view, you have this option to lay down a track surface decal by, you know, picking your texture that you want to use and sizing it and so on. That's not wrong, but it's like very much more tedious doing it that way than to actually do it in 3D modeling point. When you have the model of the actual track itself to work with within the 3D modeling program, it's very easy, I guess, to lay those out and use like 3ds Max as I have been using as compared to the sandbox utility. So okay, just checking on some things here. I got lots of things going on here, so if I tend to wander off and miss chat or whatever like that, please excuse me. I'm not trying to be ignorant or rude. But definitely try to if you ever do want to get my attention on something like that, if I tend to not pay attention, there's plenty of audio commands that I do have actively going that everyone is free to use. They are on a cooldown, just to eliminate, I guess, the spamming of them. But one of them necessarily one of my favorites. I gotta show this one because I would like to see more people use this. I love this one. I'd like to know if anybody is aware of what reference this comes from.
Hit the pace car! Hit the pace car! Hit the pace car! What for?
That's one of my favorite audio, my audio commands. So it's like, yeah, if you ever want to get my attention, that's one of them that's available. But if someone can fill me in as far as like what movie reference that's from. What? That's clearly from Starship. Sorry, Zam. I wish you were right, but that's incorrect. Try again. I'll give you another try. Try again, but don't think too hard. Okay? It has to do, let me put it this way. It has to do with racing. Okay? That's all I'm going to give you. It has to do with racing. So as you all ponder that, I'm gonna sit here and finish my works on here is laying these pit jigs down. Okay. I didn't mean to burst your bubble there, Sam. I know you gave it a try, and I'll give you credit for that. Okay. Something about thunder. You're close. You're getting warm. You're very, very warm. Okay, let's go back into object view here, where these reside. So this is our bounding box for our pit jig. I want to say it's sound of thunder or speed of thunder. You're very close, Sam. You're so dang close, it's not even funny. If I give you another clue, it might be too obvious then. It really would probably be too obvious. You can use the Googles and all that stuff if you want. I won't hold it against you. I know a lot of people tend to use the Googles and whatever like that to justify it, verify it even. So yeah, you can kind of see in here too, on this above view, where a lot of these lines are clipping. So there should be one like right in here, and obviously it's a little too low. So, oh man, James, you just gave it away. That was the next clue I was gonna give. It has been years. What's crazy is the fact that movie, it's over 30 years old now. It's like, I think it's next. It might even be 35. I have to verify that information, but it's at least 30 years old. It's crazy. Well, I'll let you ponder it. I mean, you've got the whole stream. You can let me know. Like I said, you can use the Googles and all that stuff too. I won't hold it against you. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply this. We're going to right click and apply another one of these jigs. So there's a couple of different ways you can use this jig that I use here. And another thing I want to point out as I'm applying this, it's not really going to matter. Okay, I'm at a pit road. Let's go back here to the beginning where we're at. This is the exit of pit road down here. This would be considered stall 0. So the fact that we've got some clipping of the actual object itself, that's basically just because of the geometry. We don't need to worry about that so much as long as we can get it close. This part of the jig actually represents what needs to go against the wall, like I have it. And then this is where the car would be. So this is the center of the pit stall, and then this is the proper spacing that we need to have our car, in the pit stall in comparison to the animated pit crews that come over the wall. So this is why we do it this way. So just to make sure that all the animations for the pit crew, whatever, going over the wall and stuff are, legit, that they don't clip through the wall and all that stuff. This is why we apply it this way. Okay, so I do necessarily feel free to ask any questions if you got any other questions about what I got going on here. No question is a dumb question. Okay, so yeah, so what I did, brought this dialog up here. I'm going to bring in another one. So you can do this a couple of different ways. The way I like to do this is to put the jig in each stall and then go through. Once I get all that done, I can go to each location and just get those coordinates in the segment info that shows at the bottom right of the screen, and then plug that into our track I9. So there's some phases, I guess, to do applying all this. So put the pit jig down first, all the way through. You can also just take this jig and just keep moving it one by one, but then you kind of sometimes tend to lose your spot as far as like which stall you did last. So I like to just lay them all out at once, and it is a pretty tedious process, but the end result of it, as far as making sure everything is lined up properly, that's the reason why we do it this way. So this is going to be a fixed object, and I do need to bring this up. I think this one was at 1.8. Let me check this. Yep, 1.8 on the Z, which is our height. So we got to bring that up. So it's just that. 1.8, there we go. So we're above the geometry level. So we're going to spin this so that this is our wall. That represents our wall. And then put this into place. And basically what we're doing, this red box here represents the car, you know, as far as the vehicle. That would be parked in the stall, and we're trying to get it centered. So that's why we use this jig. Okay. And, you know, this is a more reasonable way, I guess, of doing this as far as with this jig than it is to go to each individual stall, go to the geometry view, and just put your mouse pointer and then manually write down each one. You still have to do that, but this makes it much more easier to be like, okay, I need that, so on and so forth, once you got all these in position. And it'll make more sense as I apply those values to the track INI later on. Whether I'll get to that or not in this stream, still have to be seen. Just depends on how long it'll take me, I guess, to lay these out. I know initially when I laid these out prior to starting over here again like I am, it took me about 2 hours. So we'll see. And that's with me not streaming it, of course. So, all right, let me bring back our camera view. All right, so we're trying to get this lined up here. Looks like we got to bring it down a little bit too. Now, keeping in mind too, I showed this off last week. The geometry of this track, it tends to go uphill when you go this direction. So when you're coming from that direction over this way, it's lower, right? So we're still seeing that, you know, the fact that I've got this at 1.8 on the Z, this one's also at 1.8. You can already see it starting to climb, going in this direction. So, and that's fine. And it's just the geometry of the track. That's the nature. That's the actual nature of the track. So, all right. So what we need to do is bring that down a little bit. Now, it's not really critical on the height of this. Really about the only thing that's critical with placing this jig and adjusting the height would really be to get this the wall lined up properly so that this is will naturally line up because this is all a fixed jig. So I'm going to bring this down just a tad. Let's try 1.7. I can probably even bring it down a little bit more. So this is these fine tuning. Okay. So I think I can rotate this just a little bit. Let's do it this way. So if I do, I could probably go 141 on that actually. And I'm manually typing in here. I can use the slider, but the slider tends to be like really wonky sometimes. You know, see, like it's like right in between there. So that's not actually too bad. Now the fact that, like I said, the fact that it's clipping, like in here, as long as you can get this relatively close, that's probably good. See, like the fact that this is really clipping here. I might bring this height up just a tad. Let's do... That way I can at least get that center. I need this part right here. I'm not going to worry about it clipping on the one end there as far as adjusting the roll and all that stuff, because that doesn't... There's no value in the track I9 to adjust that type of stuff. That'll naturally correct itself, I guess, once I do that. The only thing that we're concerned about when we play this jig is this center point, and then the fact that this is clipping enough just above that actual geometric wall. It's only two things we're worried about. Alright, so we're going to keep going. Now, I'm going to have to guesstimate on this since I don't have this line adjusted. I'm going to have to guesstimate where that line is. And I'll probably have to adjust that as we go, but you can kind of get an idea as far as the spacing in here. So it's got to be like right about here. Thereabouts. So. Okay. I really need another monitor. I know I've said this before in past streams. I really do need another monitor, because I normally use 2 monitors, which was what I have, to do all this work, to try and stream this. And actually, it's pretty complicated. I gotta overlap a lot of different programs as far as views and stuff like that, and try to get everything on the screen. It's kind of crazy. And it's just streaming goals as far as like wanting to get all the things that I need, I guess, to do what I need to do. So hit center. We're going to raise this one up. So this one we had at 1.625. Now I can take this and copy it. That's another thing I can do. And then paste it into this one. Put it on fixed. So I can adjust it. There we go. Now let me just adjust the rotation. See, like I said, I can use the slider here, but sometimes it can tend to be a little wonky. So we got one here, and we'll have another one. I'll just use this line and just base the spacing on it off this line. There should be one right about here, but it's kind of clipped on below the geometry. We'll have to fix that in our model for that later on. Okay, so alright, so let's see where we're at. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna bring it down maybe a tad. Yep, so I can let's do this. 5 5 0. That's not too bad right there. I can handle that. So yeah, so we got the right distance here. Yep. I like that so far. And see, I can check on this. I can really get on this here. Let's see how much that's angled here. Excuse me. Try rotating this just a little bit. No, wrong way. Let's go the other way. So let's try that 141. Let me see here. Point. Yeah, you can see it moving just that little bit there. I think that's going to do it right there. I think I should do it. It's clipping enough, I feel. We want to get it to clip just enough there so that, you know, this is kind of like laying just over top of the wall as much as possible. Get that proper spacing there. Okay, so the next one will go, I'll base it off of this line and just use roughly the same amount of spacing for the jig. And just pretend that line is there for now. Okay. Oops. So let's go ahead and right click, bring another one in. Okay. Fixed, and we want to put this at, I think we did 1.5. We'll try 1.5 to start out. We'll rotate this around. So you kind of get the idea of how this works now. So I'm just going to guesstimate that spacing based on, you know, these spacings here. So I'll just bring it like so. So that's where that line should be, right, roughly in there. Should be. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So we got to come out a little bit here. Okay, so man, this is really hard to try and. I usually put the camera view on the second monitor, but I want to be able to show that as much as possible. Okay, so. Wow. Did I move that the wrong way? Holy crap. Let's zoom in on this here and see what we got. Might have to rotate this a little bit. Let's see what we got. Okay, bring it out. This should be out on this end because that's definitely hanging out. What in the world? Hold on. Am I looking at that wrong? What the heck? This end here should definitely be out. What the heck's going on? Here, let me try it this way. You can do it this way too. This is more like a real-time camera. So let me try this. Yeah, there we go. And then I can also, without going in there and dragging it, I can move it this way too. You can see I can move it this way. It's just really tough because you're on a curve, so you'd have to move both the X and the Y almost simultaneously, which is a little bit tougher to do. So let's go like this. Alright. That should definitely be clipping through here based on this top view. Not really sure why it's not. Okay, now it is. Interesting. Alright. I kind of teeter-totter this. This is a curved wall, so this is why. But in order to make a jig that accommodates, God dang it, accommodates a curved pit, it's kind of next to impossible. So you kind of have to work with what you got there. If you don't know, give us something. Okay, that's fine, James. Check that out. Like I said, I figured I would get with you soon enough or whatever to get all that, so we're all on the same page. Okay. That looks about right. Yep, I like that. That sounds about right. Now what's really weird, as far as like I can really see how much this is hanging right here, but it's definitely not presenting that way in the camera view. So this is all part of the way the geometry tends to breathe. This is why you do necessarily need to check it in the game as well. You can't 100% go by what you see in here. It gets you pretty much in the ballpark, but it's not 100%. So yeah. So far so good. Moving right along. That is really weird though, how much this is hanging out in comparison to what's in the camera view though. I will say that. Alright, so next. Moving right along. Okay, we're gonna bring this up. So this one we had at, I'm gonna copy this over. And I'll adjust it from there. So bring in the Z. And that's the height. Just in case I didn't make that clear. Put that in a position. This is like deja vu because like I said, I had this all pretty much done, and then came to conclusion all my D-longs and D-lats, and that'll make sense a little bit later as far as like all them terminologies. But yeah, I found out pretty quickly. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm so far off. It's not even funny. That's not too bad right there. I can dig that. Cool. Alright. Moving right along. Yeah, see, there's even some some adjustments I'll have to make here as well. Alright. So I need a little bit. Oh, I forgot to fill my drink up, I guess, when I, What's the UG there, Zam? I was supposed to go play board games. Delayed for an hour? Why is that? You're still gonna play then, right? Still playing board games? Oh, yeah. You could have strammed a little longer, yeah. Well, you can stick around here for until then, right? Put some more thought, I guess, into that movie reference. Hint, hint. Stick around here. Gross. Oh, come on, Sam. Is it that bad? Is it really that bad? I didn't think I was that bad. Okay. But you can feel free to do what you need. But I know that does stink though. You had plans, I guess, to go play. What kind of board games are you gonna be playing? If I could ask. Like Monopoly or? Oh, you don't know. Okay. Board games, man. I can't begin to tell you the last time I played a traditional board game. Betrayal, The House of the Hill, or Super. Well, those sound cool. I've never been super heavy in them. Like traditional games like Monopoly and Risk and things like that. Those are always fun too. Life. But yeah, those are cool. That sound cool too. What the heck? Alright, let's spin this around and see what happens. So we go like this. This is our wall. Wow. This one's actually up higher. A little bit of a crown right here, I guess you could say. Let's move this up just a little bit. A little bit more. Let's do 7.5. Oh, that's actually good right there. Alright. We'll rotate this a little bit. Line her up. Check our camera view. Oh man, doing it again. Yep. I want to get that so that it's outside so I don't see the wall itself. I want to be just above that. Let's bring it out this way. That's better. Not too far though. I don't want it hanging out there too far. That looks good. See, we're getting there. We got how many now? 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 6 of them so far. We only got 42 of them in total to do, so do the math. Okay. Yep, so you can see this is kind of clipping in here too, and I did verify that this is a little bit, that's a little bit low.
You get official albums, music videos, and more uninterrupted.
Oh, what is with the ads? Don't do the ads. No ads, please. Thank you. Royalty, gotta love royalty-free music. Okay, so it doesn't mean it's ad-free, but it is definitely royalty-free. Okay, let's bring this up here. So this one we put up at, copy this value. So you can get this where it is. Fixed. Oh, looks like it's gotta come up a little more. So it must be, yeah, we're up on the rise there. So it was a little bit low in those two. Okay, that's interesting. It's interesting to see how the geometry is actually flowing as far as, like, there's some dips and crowns and whatever as it's going up on an incline. It's kind of interesting to observe that. You know, no track out there is perfectly smooth. It's got, you know, some humps and bumps. It's like our, a lot of our roadways, to be honest. Alright, so we'll swing this around. Once I get to the straightaway, on the straight part of the pit road, it's gonna go pretty quick. These curved ones are a little bit more tedious because it's on a curve. So bring it up a little bit. I don't want to go too high. As long as I have that point right there, that's good. Alright, let's check our camera view. Let's see what we got here. Alright, let's see if we can rotate this way. Just a little bit. See, we're getting almost to 180. We're at minus 173. So once we get on the straightaway, yeah, we should be good to go. Okay, so let's rotate this just a little bit. I think we gotta go. No, wrong way. We gotta go down. 172. Is that too much? 71. Okay. It's 2.5. That's pretty good. Let's bring it out. Oh, there we go. That might work. And like I said, just trying to get this to clip just above that wall, so get it as straight as possible. The fact that this is clipping down here should be good here. I'm not worried about the roll or the pitch as far as the side to side or the front to back. That'll correct itself. The only thing we need is that point right there, as far as then get that distance between the wall and where the car will actually pit. So that's all good. We're getting to the straight. We got this little bow in the wall here, though. That might necessarily be an issue, but we'll see. We will see. Okay, let's bring another one in. And then we'll copy over that Z value from here. fixed and paste that in here. Swinging around. Oh, we definitely need to come up higher. So yeah, we're definitely starting to get back into that. It's climbing as we go in this direction. So, all right. So let's try 75. Not high enough. Let's do 17. A little bit better. That might be a little high, but we'll check it. Let's get that perpendicular to or parallel to the wall, I should say. And we'll check our camera view. Let's see what we got. Yep, it's got to come more out. Yep. So you can kind of see that roll on it too, or that pitch. It's kind of higher on this end than it is on this end. I'm not worried about that. That's not what we need to adjust it. So let's bring it out this way. Looks like I need to change the. So let's go down on this probably. 172. Nope, looks like that one does have to come up. So 174. Let's try 173.5. Okay. That is pretty darn close. Let's see. Try 2.5. Yep, and then we'll just bring it out. Oh, too far. Dang it. There's no way to really adjust that because of the fact that we're on a curve and the X and Y are going to adjust at the same time. It's about the only way you can really adjust that, to be honest. Which is kind of good and bad, I suppose. Because sometimes you can pull it out too far. Yeah, see, that's a little too far. See that thickness there? So I want to bring it in just a little bit more. Like this. Nope, too far. Alright, we'll go with that. It's sticking out a little bit here. So this part of the wall here, it's not like an L shape or anything like that. This is, I made this into an actual, it's got some blockiness to it, if you will. So it's not hollow. It's not just an L. I had thought about doing it that way, to be honest, just to kind of make it a little bit easier. And I might make some of that adjustment to this jig here as I use it, as opposed to making this look more like a solid wall and just make it like an L. Because your pit wall generally does need to be a standard height so that the animated pit crews or whatever aren't clipping through it. So I think by default, I'm going to go back into here. I have to refresh my memory sometimes. So if I go into this wall section here, the height of these walls I think are 0.5. That's on an F section. So let's go left. Yeah, these are so half a meter tall. So, and that's standard for most pit walls. You want to be at 0.5. As far as to get the animated pit crews, and they don't collide with it or whatever, they just clip through it, as well as all the equipment, the tires and stuff they bring over. This is the standard height. So as far as the way this wall is represented, it's basically just a representation, same way. It's got that thickness in it. I'm kind of thinking now that I say this, I might just make this like a L shape, just to be the top and that side. That way it's not completely solid. That way it's better to tell how much it's clipping into the wall. Or even to make this a different color on one side or the other. Like make this a darker color and keep this red or whatever. There's a lot of adjustments I can make to this jig to make it more useful to me. Okay. Okay, so next, we're getting onto the straight now, so this is going to be good. Alright, so again, we've got that issue with some of these lines not presenting themselves. So, let me check our camera view here really quick. See, in here it does. It's just in that top-down view it does not. See, you can see how it clips. See how it goes away? We need to bring that up just a skosh. See, it's clipping. So it's showing in here, but it's not necessarily in here. So let me zoom in. Yep. Yeah, and a lot of these are wonked out. They'll have to be adjusted. This one for sure. I don't know how that got like that. And there's a bow in this wall here too. You can see that. Let me check something here really quick. Why is it not letting me select that? This wall here, James, have you tried this? I'm not gonna do it, but I'm gonna just kind of pitch this out to you. Have you tried to mark this as a cladion? I'm not gonna do it, but I'm wondering if that would help this situation. I just wondered if you had and what it resulted in. It's not letting me select this one. Why is that? The heck? Here, let me go back. I'm just checking this out here. I didn't really get into the, the guts of the geometry. Okay, so we're kind of both on the same page then. So yeah, understanding that this is a curved section right here, and what it automatically will do when it's a curved section is it tends to bend, the W and F sections. The only thing I asked that, it's like it shouldn't cause a problem too much. I mean, I've already got these down here, but I just wondered if you had or not, as far as to try to adjust that for cladion. Outer pit wall is the outer pit wall. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. That would make sense. Yeah. So this one here is Euclidean. Yep. But it's these two lines here because they got this bow in it. They are not. I don't think it's going to cause an issue. But I just wondered if you had tried. Yeah. Okay. Just checking. I'm not going to mess with it. I just happened to notice that it could probably be marked as Euclidean. Alright. So. Bring another one of these. Whoops. Got to go back into object view. Right click. Bring one in. Yeah. Getting on the straight part here should make it go by a little bit quicker. Alright. So this. Copy this. Alright, swing it around. And we should be getting closer to like almost 180 degrees. Just about there. So I need to bring it this way just a little bit. Okay. So we're not quite to 180 degrees. Almost though. Alright, so we need to bring this up a little more. Alright, let's try 1800. 1.87. Wow, it's really climbing here. Okay. 9. Let's try 2. Yeah, it's really climbed here, so it's really on the uphill here. 2.1. That might be too tall, but let me check that. Let's see. Yeah, a little too high. Let's bring that down a bit. Heck, that's even a little too high. Okay, let's try 1.9. 7. 5. Okay. This is going to be really close to 2, but not quite 2. So let's do this. Alright, let's bring it out. Okay, we need to rotate this a little bit. Closer to 180. So let's do 75. Nope, we need to go a lot more closer to the 180. See how close that is to 180. Let's put it right about there and bring it out. Wow, that's crazy. How much different it is in this view in comparison to this view. Look at that. That's crazy. So you can really see it pitching here too. You see it's higher up on this end. But again, like I said, we're not concerned with that with laying this jig. Man, that's so close. I don't like how. We're going to go with that though. That should be a pretty good coordinate. So we got that there. And I could probably bring in a little bit, but it's probably going to bring this back in. And yeah, it's got a bowl in this wall, and that's what I figured it might necessarily pose an issue. So I figured if we were to mark that a clad-in, we wouldn't have to deal with that. You see, it's got a huge bow in it. We'll deal with it though for now. Okay. Mark it in what fashion there, James? As far as to put a different texture on it, you mean? Or... Yeah, see, you can really see that difference as far as how much that bows. It doesn't show it in here, but it definitely does in the camera view. I'm wondering how much that's going to mess up my object, though. You know what I'm saying? I would have to redo that model, I guess, for that. That's why I didn't want to touch it. I mean, I can do that for sure, you know, but then that's probably going to suck that in too far. That's why I didn't want to touch it. Because keeping in mind that this model is based on the geometry the way it is without touching it. So if I mess with that, I would have to do a new model of the track and then adjust that area for the, yeah. I think so too. We'll see. We'll check it out. I'm going to eventually, part of the process of checking all the pit stalls is I'll be able to adjust and check each of these pit stalls individually in testing to see actually how it all works. So that's probably one of the areas that we'll focus on to see how much of a problem that is as far as the orientation of that pit stall. So, alright, so we got that one down. And our lines aren't showing in here, so I'm going to have to do some guesstimation here. Let's see here. Let's see here. What did I do? Did I grab the wrong one? I think I did. Oh, I must have grabbed the sky instead of... Oopsie. That'll happen. I must have did sky instead of... Oh, well. Okay, so let's grab the Z on this one. So, yeah, you kind of can tend to see the tediousness that shows itself, I guess, with doing this, but the end result pays for itself. Alright, so let's try putting this at 180. We're pretty darn close. I'm kind of guessing here because, let me see, let's check our camera view. You can see our bounding box for here, so yeah, we're pretty close. Pretty close. Let's slide it back just a little bit. Adjust our rotation. Man, it's like right in the middle there. It's so close. Let's do 179. That looks about right. So bring it in a little bit, and we got to bring it up, obviously, too. So this is going to be like 2.050. No, a little more. Wow, this is really. Alright, 2.1. 5. And I'm going up a little bit at a time until I start seeing a clip, which is right there. I don't want it too high. Man, big difference from one stall to the next, though. Big incline. Alright, that's pretty good there, so let's bring this in just a little. Check our camera view. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Yowza. Okay, we need to bring that way more out. Like this. Holy mackerel, that's crazy. That difference there. This is not entirely uncommon for it to be this far off in comparison to the two views. But wow, that is a big difference. Alright, so it's just our... Okay, let's do this. Alright. And it's not going to be that much. Let me bring it down a little bit. Actually, I could probably get away with doing that. Let's do 2, 5. That's not too bad. Let's do... No, gotta go the other way. So let's do 178. Wow, that is so close to 180, it's not even funny. But to adjust it this way, I can't get it. I gotta type it in. Can't get what I want by just using the slider. Oh, wrong way. Man, is that gonna be 177? What the heck? There, that looks a little better. Now we'll just pull it out. Man, look at how far out that is, though. In comparison. That's crazy. Yeah, that's out farther than I want to. Now, again, I don't want to worry about the roll or the pitch. See how it's really high? I'm not worried about that. Nope, too far in. Gosh darn it, I keep moving it too much. Yeah, that's out too far. I don't like it out that far. This is really bugging me as far as how that's... Yeah. Just want to get it just right. I might have to go with that. It's like I said, I think that's what's going to cause us an issue as far as having that bow there. Because it should be relatively straight. But trying to get that lined up there, it's being a bugger. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it that way. Yeah, we'll go with that. That should be pretty darn good. What we don't want is this clipping into the wall. We don't want it, the wall showing. We want this showing as much as possible. But what I'm trying to do is eliminate as much of the thickness here as far as how much of the jig is hanging over. I don't want to be too far out from the wall either. I want to be as close to that as possible. That's what I was trying to accomplish there. And I'm really considering, I guess, making some adjustments to this jig. Even to go so far as just to change the color of the end caps. So it's a different color, like a darker color. So I can really see how much is overhanging. Either that or just chunking out the end walls and making just an L shape. One way or the other, that's what I might do. So that's something I'll do as an afterthought. Alright, next one. Alright, let's copy over Z value from this one. Yeah, we're really climbing here, that's for sure. And that's what we expect to see because we know the track is on an uphill going this way and downhill going this way. So we'll paste this in. Rotate that, whoopsie. And see, we're still not 100% 180. We're close. Not quite there yet. Yeah, we definitely have to come up some more. So let's put this at a 2.3. Wow. I can't get over the big differences between one stall to the next. I mean, these are some 2.4. Alright, we'll go with that. Yeah, we're almost like 100% on 180. It's so close, it's not even funny. Not even funny, alright. 178. Let's do... I'm making very fine... Yeah, so what I'm trying to do, like I said, is get it parallel. Get the jig parallel with the wall as much as possible. Centered up in there. And it definitely needs to come way out again, so okay. Alright. Checking here. Alright, let's see. Let's check the rotations here. So if I go... Alright, let's try 179. Is that too much? Not enough? I can't see that. Alright. I think I just need to bring it out more now. That's really throwing me a curve as far as how much I'm having to hang this out in this view as compared to the camera view. That's really throwing me a loop there. Oh my god, I don't like how much that's hanging out though. A lot of thickness here. Alright, let's bring it in just a little bit. Deja vu, this is, I definitely went through a lot of this already. It's coming back to me now as far as like what I went through. So that's kind of why I went the direction of using the make stalls. You know, the method of using the pit LP or just any LP and designing the LP so that it goes through the center of the pits. You know, the center of the pit stalls, if you will. And yeah, I'm remembering why I did it that way. But like I said, using that method and using the starting and end points when you have gaps, you know, that positions on your pit road that aren't stalls, that doesn't really work. It's going to throw everything off from that point, you know, in the direction the pit road's going. So yep, we were stuck with doing it this way. Man, this line here is completely bored. Wow. Alright, so alright, we're going to copy this value over here. And it's probably going to need to go higher. It's been the pattern here so far. Yippers. And let's see how much 180 we can go. Oh yeah, we're getting much better now. So close. Alright, let's bring that up some more, as we expected. Let's do 2.675. Oh my goodness, look at that. It just amazes me how much difference. I mean, that's a huge slope, you know, going in this direction that we are. As far as how much I'm having to adjust each one of these. So much slope in that track as far as, like, you know, going in that direction. Alright, still need to go a little bit more under 180, so let's do 179.7. Okay, we're almost there. So close we can smell it. Yep, so we're not concerned, like I said again, with the pitch or the slope here. You know, as far as this end being higher, we just want to get this to clip into the wall on this side and that center point lined up. That's our main concern. I need to adjust the rotation here. Whoops, my bad. Wrong window. I think you didn't see that. Let's see. Let's see what happens if I put it at 180. Is that too much or not enough? Let's see. 180.5. Yeah, I can actually go more than 180. Alright, Zam. Have fun with your board games. Thank you for stopping by. Have fun. Bye. Appreciate you. Alright, so actually I'm able to go a little bit more than 180, like I said. So how much more can I go? Alright, let's see. Wow, that's crazy. Alright, so what I might have to do... Let's try it this way. Well, I'll be damned. Huh. this is a conundrum, so I can't go... Oh, damn, so I can't really go more than 180. I can only go 180 there. Oh, I see what I can do. I gotcha. So I'm gonna have to go back the other way here. We have to go this way. Okay, let's try that. Man, look at how wonked out that is. Holy crap. But in comparison to the camera view, look at how straight it is, though. That is crazy. Yeah, so it does... Yeah, a lot of thickness here, so I gotta still adjust the rotation. Wow. Okay, let's try this. Alright, let's try 179. Alright, there we go. Bring that in. Gosh darn it, went too far. We're gonna have to go with that. Man, that part of that wall, that section of that wall, that's really wonky there. Holy mackerel. Alright. I think that's as close as we'll get there. As far as to get it to just be on this side of the wall, as far as it, and not being underneath it, I guess you could say. And what I'm looking at is the thickness here. I'm not worried about this. I'm worried about the thickness this way. Okay. That's what I'm looking at. Okay. Oof. Yeah, I remember now. It's all coming back to me now that when I tried to do that, initially applied it with the make stalls, and yeah, came to the conclusion, yeah, because we got the pit openings in the wall there, can't use that method. Oh, I need to stretch. Oh my goodness. Okay, a little bit more than an hour into the stream. Checking things over, making sure everything's... Appreciate all the lurkers out there too. Appreciate that support. Lurkers do count as well, even if you don't necessarily have the ability, I guess, to be able to chat in the stream. Just on whatever you might be doing, so I want to show my appreciation, I guess, for those that are here, just watching and lurking. Alright, let's see if we can go this way. Okay, now I think we're there. We're at 180 degrees, so we can probably go in either direction, it wouldn't matter. Alright, we need to bring this up. So let's try 2.9. Wow. Alright, let's try 9. Bible, okay. Check it in the camera view. Oh yeah, baby. Yeah, we're getting there now. I think we're in that straight part now. Still got that elevation though. You can see that slope. See how it's higher here? That's going to continue that trend as we go. It may necessarily present itself where I will have to just adjust that tilt on it just to keep it straight enough. You know, as far, it's not going to be critical as far as being able to, you know, to have to place that, get the coordinates. But just the visualization, I guess, of the jig, so that doesn't get... As we get to the end here, this end here is going to be so high, because there is that much of a difference, you know, as we go in that direction of the track, so... Okay. I'm just checking some things over as I go. Alright. That's good enough there. It's just really reminding me as far as what I went through. Wait a minute. Oh, here it is. I was gonna say, what the heck? I thought it populated in there like that. It's right here. Okay. Let's see, how the heck did it do that? It scared me a little bit. Alright, so here, copy this over. Alright, 180. Alright, I'm using this as a guide to get that distance there. Because obviously that's clipping below the geometry. Alright. Might have to raise it a little bit. Let's do that. So let's do 3.1. Maybe a little more. Yeah, I do definitely think I'm going to have to start adjusting the pitch on this just a little. Just for the sake of visualization. It's not, like I said, it's not going to be critical as far as getting that coordinate, but it's, otherwise, as I do this, this end of the jig is going to be like way up in the air once I get down to this end. Whoops. Let me see. Oh, wrong way. Oh, I can do... That's pretty good right there. Alright. So let's see. Yeah, we can definitely bring that in some. Okay. A little more. Shoot, that's probably too far. Yep. Usually you can see, if I zoom in here and here, you can see the top of the wall. So even in this view, you can see that very thin line right there. That's, so yeah, we're definitely on the straight now. We're past that bow in the wall, which is probably a good thing. I think I'm just going to go with that. That's not too much thickness. That's pretty decent. That's reasonable. We're getting there. Knocking them out. We are getting there. Alright, so we need to copy this over. Stomach's starting to rumble. I guess the breakfast wore off. Should have got me some supper time. Supper there before I started, but that's okay. See, and I can go in either direction here. I can go this 180 or that 180. Won't really matter. But looks like it does need to come up some. Yep. Just bring that in. Like so. It's so much easier on the straightaway than the straight part. Raise it. Actually, I can probably... Oh yeah, I gotta change the pitch on that too. What I can do is use the pitch on the previous one as a guide. Copy that. So even though this is a 32-bit program, you know, it's nice to have that it has certain features like that to be able to copy and paste, as opposed to having to manually type it in. So yeah, there's some pros and cons to it. Let me bring this down just a little. So we'll do 3.37. That looks good. It's a little bit raised up there, but that's cool. We're in a reasonable deviation there. I can take that. That's acceptable. See, even on this one here, I could probably adjust the roll on that, or the pitch on that. Let's do that. See how it works. We're on a roll here. Oh, wrong one. This one? Yep. So let's take... Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and type it in. I think it was about 1.5. Right about there. See, the more that does is it keeps it parallel, I guess, with that, so it removes that pitch. And keeping in mind that doesn't really affect. It's just more of the visualization, you know, just to make sure that we've got this lined up right. The fact that it's clipping appropriately, I guess, on this side of the jig, and we got that center point there. That's what's critical. The pitch or the roll of it's not going to matter. There's no adjustment value in the INI, I guess, for that. As far as a param. Man, look at all these lines in this view anyway that aren't showing. It's crazy. Alright, so we need to bring in another one. Copy the Z on this one. A lot of repetition, but hopefully you get the point. I didn't realize I got this in the way there. There we go. Cover my sandbox segment information. Alright, so copying this. Apply that to our new one. Yep, so we gotta bring it up more. So we'll go to 180. And climb it up a little bit more. Let's try 3.5. Wow, that's too low, right? Alright, let's check our camera view. Yep, definitely need to come up. Alright, we'll change that pitch, and it's, since I know the value, it's about 1.5. Let's go ahead and manually type it in. Okay, and we still need to come up as well. There we go. Beautiful. I think that'll work. I could probably bring it up a little bit more. Just obviously not coming through the top of the wall. Let's do that. Let's do 7, 8. There we go. Let's clip it through there just to kind of verify. Got it where we need it. It's too bad there isn't more of these straight pits. I could do these all day long, actually. Alright. Alright, so we need to copy this. Z. Over to here. Oh, no, let's bring it up some more right away. Let's try 3.7. Wow. 3.8. 7.5. Okay, we'll try that. Do 180 on that. Now, I'm going to have to guesstimate here because I got those lines aren't showing in this view. At least in this view, anyway. Look in the camera view, see how close we are. Alright, definitely needs to go towards this one. Alright. Let's adjust that pitch on that too while we're at it. Alright. And it needs to come this way. Wow, look at that. You can see that slope just by moving it that little bit. That incline. Alright, more this way. So more towards this one. Look at that. That's crazy. More. More. A little more. That's pretty good right there. We're getting there. Alright, so let me bring this in a little bit. that. That looks pretty good there. I can dig that. Cool. Moving on. As you can see, the straight ones tend to be a little bit easier. Hello? There it is. It's hard to see that sometimes as far as like being able to spawn that, get that. Because it comes in gray, so it kind of blend in with a lot of the background. See? It's there though. Alright, supply that, fix. 180. And I'm going to use this line here as a guide. Right about there. Bring it up some more. Pretty good. Alright, so just got to bring it up. Bring it up and adjust that pitch. Alright, so we're at 3.8, so let's try putting it at 4. Oh my goodness. 0.5. Adjust our pitch. This mirror, that get pretty loud. Turn that down just a tad. There we go. There we go. That's not too bad right there. So we got it. This clipping here is not too bad as far as it's just that pitch in it. Yeah, and we got that. We can get that information up that center there. Cool. We're getting there, folks. I think we're about halfway. I didn't count these. I think we're about halfway done. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18 of them. Not quite half. I was optimistic. 18 and 18 would be 36. Yeah, we still got more than halfway to go. We're getting there though. 42 stalls. Do a 180 on that. So when you come up, more yet. And yeah, probably still gotta adjust that pitch. Go. Let's see where we're at. Bring it in just a little bit. Sure. A little bit. A little more. Too much. That's pretty good there. That music there reminds me of Cuphead. If anybody's ever played Cuphead, kind of understand that that connection. What is that all about? The world is that, James? Wow. Oh yeah, it does. If you ever played Cuphead before, it definitely does make you flip table. That's for sure. That's for sure. Cuphead is super frustrating, but I'll tell you what, I think that's what makes a lot of people come back to it, is because it is so challenging. It's like, I want to pass this, damn it. I'm not gonna allow a game to beat me. Alright, let's raise that up one more. Alright, let's go to camera view. Adjust that pitch yet. It's kind of a bouncy tune. I give it a 10. I don't know if, let me see if this works. It might not. Oh, maybe it does work. Hold on a minute. Check this out. Got some Halloween emotes here. This is what I give it. Yeah, it does work. Cool. Oh, another stretch there. Okay. Yowza. Alright, change the pitch on this. Make that parallel with that. Can probably bring it down just a tad. I said a tad. That's good. We'll go with that. Getting there. Okay, so bring in another one. Copy this Z over. Yeah. Do a 180. And we need to bring it up for sure. Do a 4.8. 7.5. Alright. Check the pitch. And like I said, the only reason I'm adjusting the pitch is just to get, you know, it oriented properly on there. It has nothing to do with getting the value on it. I could leave it just like that and I could still get that value, but I want to get it lined up like it belongs there. Even though these aren't staying here, this is just for measuring purposes, placement purposes, I should say. Yeah. Good. Now we just gotta bring it out. Oh yeah. Oh. I think I said that before too. Like, adjust the camera speed, which I'll probably do that, and tone this down a little bit. There we go. We can slow that up just a little bit. You can use the plus and minus if you got the numpad. That's in your keyboard. You can use that to slow and speed it up there. So I can slow that up a little bit. It makes it a little bit more fine-tuned there, instead of being all wonky. Yep, looks pretty good. Next. Take advantage of these straight ones as much as possible. We're going to get into them curved ones. We're going to deal like with what we did at the start there. It's going to get a bit more involved. Copy this one. Some bouncy tunes. Alright, let's line up our camera. Alright, definitely need to bring it up. Okay. Just the pitch. Whoa. A little bit different there. Okay. That's probably just the way the geometry is as far as... Might have a little bit of a waviness to it there. Not too much, though. Not unreasonable. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, baby. And we'll copy this over. Okay, just making sure. Okay, 180 that. Yeah, definitely got to come up more. Alright, so let's try 5.2. Wow, 7.5. It's going to be about 5.3. Alright, camera view. Just the pitch. It must be starting to level out now. We went from 1.5 to 1.4, so it's probably leveling off just a little bit as we get here, because it stays relatively about the same height going into this end of the track. It doesn't really continue to climb, so we're probably starting to plateau just as far as that height. Getting up to the highest point there, so it's tending to level out a little bit. Okay. That actually doesn't look too bad like that. I'm satisfied. Alright, next. Take advantage of that as much as we can on these straights here, as we're getting in the curve. And it's definitely going to be more involved. I'm going to be ashamed, I guess. Sad, I guess, to move away from being able to flip it to 180 once we get into that corner. 5.3, let's try 5.5. Okay, it's going up about almost at least 0.2 almost every stall. It's kind of interesting to note. It's been fairly consistent with each stall. It's climbing up about 0.2 on the height, roughly. Which in meters, that's not quite a quarter of a meter, almost every stall. 0.25 would be a quarter of a meter, so. Okay, pitch. There we go. Probably bring that in just a little bit. That's always easier said than done, huh? Yeah, it's pretty good right there. I can live with that. Yeah, so we're coming up to that curve. Not looking forward to it, but it's got to be done. Yeah, so it's probably in the next stall after this one's going to start really starting to curve here. That's really it should be looked as a confidence booster. It's like, yep, I'm getting in the end. But it's just dealing with it. It's kind of a pain, is all. We'll get through it, though. Alright, so this should be our last one at 180. Okay, so we're going to raise that up. 5.7. Yep. Another 0.2. Alright, let's adjust the pitch. And we can actually bring it down just a little bit. So let's try 675. That looks good. Not quite 0.2 there, but pretty close. Alright, I think on this one here, we're getting into the thick of the curve here, so. Or at least the start of it. Alright, let's grab this height. Yes, we're coming up hour and 40 minutes so far. I've taken a couple of different breaks here, so yeah, like I said, it took me about 2 hours to get all the way through this initially. So it'll probably be about that. Again, yeah, see, so I can't put it at 180. So, let me go this way. We're off the 180. Sad, I'm sad a little bit. Alright. This at 5.8. Let's see. Okay. Alright, it's just our pitch. Very decent there. I can live with that. Yeah, I think I can live with that. I mean, I could really get... Let me try something. No, let's do that. There we go. Got it. Fine-tune that. Cool. Whoop. Okay, get the height on this. Spinning around. Whoops. Let's try this way. Okay. Did I get the height view on this? Height value. I think I did. Yep, so it's got to come up more is all. Let's try putting this at 6. Yep. We're getting there, folks. It's in sight here. So yeah, that was something that James, you had fixed with this infield, all these gaps that you can see, like in these rips in here, I guess you could say. That's all been taken care of. We'll be getting those, as James had mentioned, he sent those over my way. I'll be plopping those in there once I'm done with what I'm doing here. I can probably live with this, I think. Let's try and adjust this. will work. Beautiful. All right, moving on. Height data here. Oh, it's just at 6. Okay, that's easy enough. Fix. Put this at 6. It's probably gonna have to go higher than that. Yep, 6 point. Let's try 6.2. Might be. Let's try 175. Okay. Oop. Hello. Yeah, that's too high. Yep. Gotta bring it down just a little bit more. Okay, so pitch. Okay. 1.3. Actually, I can put it right at 1. It really leveled out right there, so the pitch is only at 1 right there. See how it's parallel with. See that strip right along the bottom there. So let's put this right about there. How to do it. Cool. So I'm sure you probably get the idea as far as using this jig. You're kind of envisioning, I guess, if the car was parked there, where it would actually be. It's kind of the whole idea with the jig here. Putting them all individually like this, you kind of get the, you know, you're kind of mocking up, I guess, you know, a race weekend, which is placeholders basically. All right, so copy that. Actually, I need to bring in another one. All right, and paste that. Yep, it's got to come up more. That's to be expected there. We got a huge point, I guess, in that wall. So let's adjust our pitch. That looks pretty good. And we'll bring it down just a little bit. That's pretty good right there. So yeah, it's got a huge point in this wall, and that's fine. I'd hate to be in this pit stall, though, I'll be honest. Because, man, you could come in on the wrong angle here. Just freaking nose right into that point. Yikes. I'll try not to think about that one. It's kind of the pros and cons, I guess, of curved pit road, I guess you could say. Alright. Making another one. We're getting there. I've been kind of keeping an eye, I guess, on that, how long we've been doing this here. So yeah, I did have some spiel in there, so it's gonna be about 2 hours once it all said and done. So you take out the 10 minutes of convos, I guess we had there and whatever. Maybe even about, maybe closer to a half an hour. There was some pausing in there. Alright, so this one, I need the Z. Rotate. Oops, wrong way. Definitely need to bring it up. Interesting. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit less than 1. Yep. So we're less than 1 now. Must have really leveled out. 7. Let's try that. That's about right. It's hard to see it really moving, but it's moving just ever so slightly. There's another point, I guess, into here, so this end's probably not gonna. So yeah, we need that right there. Okay. Cool. Definitely getting it to the end. I can feel the finish line. I can smell it. Smells good too. All right. Sweet smell of victory. Let's see. Whoop. Alright, so just pitch. Maybe a little bit more. No, wrong way. About right there. Let's bring it out a little bit. Oh, that's so close. Let's bring it down. Try that. And bring it up just a little bit more. There we go. Gotta love curved pits. Alright. Get the Z from this one. Oh, this reminds me of that song, I forget how it goes. Bang da gong. Probably saying it wrong. Bang da gong. Maybe just a little pitch in here. Let's see here. Yeah, go like that. Yep, that's short. Just a few more left. Oopsie. Bang that gun. So that reminds me of it. I don't know how else to relate to that. I'm just getting super focused on this right now. I can see the finish line. I can smell the checkers. That'll work. Yep. Usually what I'll do is I'll kind of use, if there's a point in there like that, try to get that centered up in there. It gives me a good idea as far as like its proper spacing. A lot of times you don't want it too wide or narrow on one end or the other as far as the rotation of it. So it's kind of what I was taking into consideration. Bang that gong. Yeah, so we're getting to that point where it's got to hang out a lot more. Yep, so look at that. It's not showing through here. It's clearly hanging over already here. That's what I was waiting. Expecting that. Yep, okay. Alright, so this is going to be... So I'm just trying to determine, so yeah, we'll be bigger than 110. There we go. Yeah, so there's that point in there, and that's what I was trying to point out before. The ends on these, because they're just... You want this to stick out a little bit more? Something like that. That's just what I was trying to get the other one to, so this one's a lot closer. Yeah, so we want that crown of that part of the wall there for the stall there. Get these ends here, gets to be close. Yep. That's exactly what I want right there. That just helps to make it so that's, like I said, it's not so, you know, bigger angle on this end or narrower on this end or vice versa. Kind of averages it out, evens it out. Actually bring that down a little bit too. There we go. We're getting there. A few more stalls left. Seems like I said that about a while ago, but let's put that at 7, 2, 7, 5. Oh, I guess it will be 7, 3. Yeah, closer to that. Yep, so we got a lot of crowns. I can use that as a guide. Whoa. Yes, it's not what I wanted to bring up, but okay. Set that. Alright, rotation. Yeah, that's what I try to do is the points in the walls actually as like, and depending on where that point actually is if it's more towards the one end, you can let this hang out a little bit more in comparison to this end. So it just depends on where that actual crown of that wall, you know, like if this one here was pretty centered, that crown of the wall, it's kind of more centered right where it needs to be, so that's kind of like a textbook example of how you want to line up the center point, I guess, of that, having it just like this. But it really does just depend on where that point in the wall actually presents itself. It's not too bad to bring it in. Yep, see how it's pointing through right here, so that's probably pretty good right there. Yep. Yeah, that should work right there. It's kind of like semi-center of the jig, I guess, if you will, where that point is. So that lines right up with that center point right there. I mean, not 100%, but I mean, it's a lot closer. It's pretty damn close. It's my way of guiding that. Alright, bring that. Man, we're so close to being done with this. You can smell it. It smells good too. Oh my goodness. The satisfaction of, you know, taking this amount of time, I guess, to do it. There's some huge satisfaction out of it too. Get everything lined up right. I find myself have a lot of patience with this type of thing, to be honest. There's a lot more things you have under your control, especially when you have a tool like this jig or whatever that I've done enough of these pit stalls or whatever to come to this. It's been a long time in the making, I guess, to make this jig work in my favor. Let's see here. I think I want to rotate this a little bit more. We're right at 90 degrees right there. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Alright, we're going to do that. And probably bring that in just a little bit. See, I haven't had to adjust the pitch. I could probably adjust the pitch here a little bit. It's kind of down on this end. So let's just to kind of get a better visualization and make sure. Yep. Cool. Actually, hold on, I lost my. Yep, I did. I lost my center points. Can't grab that. So let's bring it up just a tad. More. Wow. Alright. That'll do. So I need that. I need to get that point right there. So. Okay. We're getting through it. It's a grind, but we're getting there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is not a stall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more to do. And I'm thinking at this point, what I would probably do, once I get those started, I'll start the process of how to apply those values into the track INI, and then we'll get into the actual game and be able to test that. We'll probably focus on that one area that we dealt with earlier that was causing us a lot of problems with that Euclidean, as far as applying that Euclidean to the wall. We'll probably focus on that as our test subject going into the game, just to see how much that's going to actually be a problem or not. Alright, so brought this in. Yeah, there it is. So I need this value, Z value. Definitely has to come up a little more. Yeah, this one's really wonky. Okay. Alright, let's change this like that. Whoopsie. That looks about right. So I'm using that point again more on this end. I want that to clip through almost like it is right now. Cool. That's what I was looking for. Alright, let me adjust the pitch. Just got a little bit more pitch in this one. Yep, just a little bit. Huh. Must be another little bit more of an incline right in this part. Pitch kind of increased a little bit. Oh, that's too high. Let's bring it down. What was that at? That was 685. That's what I need. There we go. That's more like it. Got to love the curved stalls. Man. Okay. Half a dozen to go. Oh, yeah, out there to me, keep me honest too. Don't let me keep you bored or anything like that. It's alright, so this needs to go up. I want to remind everybody too that might necessarily still be lurking in the chat. If you want to administer yourself a shot, you can earn yourself those valuable fluids. Exclamation point fluids or check your fluids. And if you want to administer yourself a shot, you can do exclamation point shot. You can even risk some of your fluids by exclamation point risk. And that's a crapshoot as far as whether or not you'll get any or not. There you go. James giving him a shot of precious fluids there. You can also do the exclamation point risk, and what that do is kind of like a roll the dice. You may get some, you may not. As all those particular commands are on a cooldown, so it'll be a while before you can actually administer yourself a shot again. So if you want to take a risk, you can do that. Exclamation point risk. It's a mouthful. That's at your discretion. Alright, slope on this one for sure. And that one was a 1.4 at least. Alright, let's do 1.5. There we go. Wow, it's right in the middle there. Oh, wrong way. $72. What the heck? Yeah. There we go. So I was looking for trying to level out the two ends, kind of balance it on the scale. Bring it out. There we go. So the pitch might be a little off. Might actually be a little more. Oh, gotta go backwards. So 1, 4, 2. What's that one at? So we'll do 0.90. There we go. Trying to level that out. That strip right there in the bottom of the jig. That's pretty decent. Yep. And that's just to fine tune the accuracy of that point right there. It's the main objective of this thing. We're getting there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more stalls. Alright, just gotta go up. Let's try putting it at 8. Might be too high. Let's try right about there. Alright, once again, I have the point of the wall is on this end. So that's what I want to get to clip out. Clip a little bit. So let's do it a little bit. Okay, let's see here. Huh, what was that? 50 I thought. Let's see. Alright. 2. There we go. That's what I wanted right there. Could probably just a little bit more. Yeah, but not too much. Yeah, let's do 59. All right, and then move it in. Oh my god, it's so close. Yep. Just the pitch. What was that last one that I forgot? That's 0.9, okay. There we go. That'll work. Yep, that'll work. Cool. Yeah, I was trying to get it as close as possible. If I clip that in too much, it's kind of like more of a shallow point on that wall. That's kind of a nice little in between, I guess, for that. Might be kind of hard to tell in there, but that's what I observe. So you can see how kind of even it is. See, that's just a really shallow point, like right in there. Just trying to get it to clip a little bit, but I didn't quite want to do that, so. Split the difference on it. This one should be right about the middle. Be pretty close. Oh my goodness, that's close. Let's see, let's adjust the pitch just a little. Yep, there we go. Just to get that come through. Yep, I like it. Like it. Now see, you almost have to kind of picture if this wall was, you know, the same contour of that. So you're kind of balancing out. It's kind of like a scale, like a teeter-totter. And actually, as I look at this, I could probably see this. No, too far. Let's go back the other way. Yep, so let's go. There we go. That's better. So we got just as much thickness here as we do there. Yep. I really do think that's probably one of the things I'm going to adjust on this pit jig is to make these ends like a darker color or something that's more in contrast. It's going to, you know, kind of use as a depth gauge, if you will. Be able to tell how much is sticking out from that, because that's still a relatively solid wall, even though it's hollow. It's mimicking as best as it can the geometric wall. So, all right, so we've got 3 more down in the nitty gritty. Alright, let's put this at cool. Alright, the pitch doesn't seem to be as much issue anymore. I can adjust the height down. That looks pretty good there. Yep, so I can move the rotation just a little bit. Let's go to 39. Yep. Starting to get efficient on this. I only got 2 more to do. Alright, so let's do that. Must be fairly level here. It's still plugged in that same value there, and it's popping through already. Alright. Definitely need to come down a little bit though. Oh, quite a bit actually. There we go. Let's see. Wow. Okay. And let's bring it out a little bit. Oh man, see this is what I was talking about. So it's that point. So when you can get, depending on where your point lands up in comparison to where your potential center point would be, you want to try and line that point of that wall, that crown of that wall, on the one end, of as much to the center as you can, obviously. But since it's right there, that's actually pretty good. Another good example of how to use the crown of the wall in comparison to where your center point is to your advantage. So if I look at this, the thickness here should be roughly the same as it is here. Pretty darn close. I'm talking with, I could get really picky with it and just keep messing with it, make it perfect, but that's pretty darn good right there, as far as just to be able to line those up right. Curved pit stalls are a bit more tricky, I guess, as far as that, as you can obviously tell. But to use the geometric wall, I guess, is have it work for you and not against you. Okay, and this is our last one, last but not least. I'm gonna need to take a bio break after this one. I'll tell you what. 2 hours and 20 minutes into the stream. So if you take off of that 22 minutes, we had some convo time there, and we had a raid, all that good stuff. We had some exciting things happening. So kind of took away from us actually being able to do some things. So yeah, it's going to be about 2 hours. And it took us to. That's about what it took me initially, like I said. So for this type of track build, as far as 42 stalls and dealing with a curved pit, is probably the biggest challenge. If it was a straight pit, it probably wouldn't have been as bad. You could probably knock off about, not quite half as much time. So it'll probably take you about hour 20, hour 30 minutes, or whatever, to do a straight pit. Even if it's on an angle or whatever like that, because you're only going to deal with stuff like that. Crowns in your wall and stuff like that, so. But necessarily do figure, I guess, about 2 hours, I guess, to do a curved pit like this with 42 stalls. Yep, same thing here. So I can bring this down a little bit. Got that crown right here, so I can kind of use that as my reference. There we go. That's almost perfect. Let's see, check this here. Okay, maybe a little bit more. 24, let's try. Oh, see, now we lost it. So we'll bring it in a little bit. Oh, come on now. Oh, it's a little too much. Oh my god, that's so close. I don't even know if I want to mess with it. Yeah, I'm going to leave that. I think that's going to do. Hey, what happened? There we go. Maybe turning my music off. Yeah, I'm going to leave it just like that. I think that's going to do just fine. And then this is just it's a dud stall. That is not an active pit stall. So there we go. 42 pit stalls. Curved pit stalls nonetheless. Right there. So what I'm going to do, save my progress here. I'm going to go into geometry view. Save this bad boy as a new PTF. And I'm just going to put this add pit jig as my comment for that. So that way I know what I did there. I'm going to save it. And just verify that it's there. That's the game directory. So, yep. There's my save right there. With that being said, I'm going to take just a short little bio break. Give me a minute or two, and I will be right back, so don't go nowhere. Alright, we're back, folks. Thanks for apologize for a little bit of a break there. What do I got going on here? Oh, I know why. This has to be focused, that's why. Yep. Yes, I tried some different things with trying to show more information on the screen as possible, to be the fact that I normally work on 2 monitors. With the streaming stuff, I almost need to put all of the stuff I need for the streaming, I guess, on another monitor. I do have a 3rd monitor, but that's not very big. Not as big as the 2 monitors I use for my work. You know, basically my workspace, so yeah. Okay, so this is all saved. Now what we can do at this point is start plugging in these values into our track I9. So I think where I'm going to start is right over here. We had this problem here, and then I'll work over here, because yeah, this was probably our biggest problem area. So I think I'm going to start there, like I said. So let's do that. So let's zoom in on here in geometry view. This is where you got to get. This is how you get the values. Focus on this. We're going to bring up our track I9. We're in our game tracks directory here. We're going to open this up. Go down to our pit stalls. And the way you count these is it starts at 0, not 1. So what we need to do is we need to count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This would be the 8th stall. And what I'm going to do actually in the I9 is we have a gap here after stall 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So after 7 and before 8 there's a gap. So that's already there. So this much we already know. So I could use that as a guide too. So yeah, these 2 positions here would have the gaps. Perfect. Alright, so on this stall right here, this is where we're going to start with. We'll probably test this out in game too. We'll set this to 0. Initially what I'll do is I'll set this to what it needs to be based on our jig, and then we'll just swap that with the this stall 0, because all these are going to have to be adjusted now that we've got our jig in here. Alright, so here we go. Zoom in on this. Might have to bring this up just a tad now that I look at this. It's hard for me to get the center point, so let's bring this up just a little bit. There we go. Okay, go back into geometry view. Now I can get that center point. So what I'm looking at, oops, my bad, put this out of the way a little bit, is that that's sandbox segment info that you see there. It might be kind of hard to see, but that's what I'm looking at. So what I'm looking at right now is the D long, which is the first set of numbers, and that happens to be 65.89. So I want to write this down, 65.89, and put that in here. Okay, so that's our D long. That's the position of it this way, and then the D lat is the second set of numbers, which happens to be 35.43. So I'm going to put that in there, 35.43. Like so. And then our rotations, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay. We're probably going to have to adjust that as far as based on the orientation of that, and some of that information can be used from the amount of rotation that we put into it, but it would have to be converted into radians as opposed to degrees. That's the units that the simulation uses as opposed to degrees. And radians are a little more finite unit of rotation. It's kind of relates, the best way I can put it is like metric, I guess, is standard. It's just more, really fine finer tune, I guess you could say. So we'll get to that, but for now we're just going to leave it at 0, and that's going to help us determine. And I have a diagram as well. In fact, I can show that. I got a diagram as to, depending on which direction our vehicle is pointed and how much we would have to adjust it. I've got a diagram. Let's go into this here. So if I go, should be in here. Got a lot of track folder builds. So if I go down in here, got a camera jig, got my pit jigs down here. Just trying to remember what I did with that darn thing. It's in here somewhere. Alright, where'd you go, darn it? Here it is. So this one right here, is this the one? Yeah, here we go. This is the diagram that we use there. So basically what this will tell you, if you need to turn it clockwise or counterclockwise, if it needs to be a negative, more of a negative rotation or a positive. So this is what we'll end up using, I guess, to adjust that. So I'll leave that up for now. So like I said, the first set of numbers is your D-long. That's how deep or shallow, I guess, it is into the stall. And then the D-lat is how far basically from the wall. And then, of course, your rotation, which is your last set of numbers. So we'll be adjusting all that. So let's go back to track folder, track edit folder. Alright, so we're right here. Cool. Get back into there. So we got that set of numbers here. Like I said, I'll leave the rotation alone. So depending on what direction the nose of the car would be pointing, we'll determine if we need to go counterclockwise or clockwise to straighten it out. So whether it be a positive number or a negative number for that rotation. And it's probably a good point to mention that the smaller, you don't want to go huge on your adjustment. So like if it's only a certain amount of rotation, I mean if it's a major difference, then yeah, you want to start off with like 1, like a 1.0. But if it's just like very minimal, you want to do like a 0.5 or something like that. And we'll be able to see all that once we test these. So now that we got this value in here, as far as what we need that to be, I'm going to swap this values here. And I'm just going to overwrite this, to be honest, because that's going to have to be changed anyway. So I'm going to do copy and paste right over this. And I'm going to put that there. And now what I'm going to do is set this here. That's going to be... Now, I can do this one of two ways. I just did this kind of another way. You can do this one of two ways. In fact, I'm going to revert here. I'm going to leave that as it is. I'm just going to change the stall. Right, this will actually probably be easier just to kind of make it less confusing. It's just to swap the stall. So I'm going to put that stall here. Your player car always starts off with stall 0 in testing. So if I want my car to spawn, I guess in this position, I have to set that to stall 0. So I'll just leave it that way. The other way was a little bit more complicated to move just the whole coordinate. As far as on the stall 0, I could have done it that way because that was already stall 0 and just move that location. That's where I want the stall 0 to be. It's just a matter of where it is in the hierarchy, I guess, of the INI itself. But just for the sake of this, I'll just move the stall. And I want the stall 0 to spawn in that location, which is what we just put here. So that's what I'm going to do. And then once we determine it, I'm going to do these first set of stalls here that we had this problem with the wall, and then just kind of I'll move the stall 0 in each of these spots to see how they function. Okay, so for this stall, let's get this value. This would be stall 9. Just gotta relook here. Yeah, this will be stall 9. So we go here, point the mouse on that. 55.12. Okay. And our D-lat. 35.69. Just double checking these numbers. 35.69, right? You know, and you can go, in most cases, you can go slightly up or down, I guess, from that decimal. It's usually not that critical. You just don't want to go too much because, as I was saying with the rotations, a little bit goes a long way as far as you don't want to go too drastic, I guess, with that. So it's like if you want to move it further away from the wall or closer to the wall, you want to go really, you know, start off with decimals and go from there. And it really, you kind of have to view it as like if it's a huge difference as far as like how, if it's hanging way out there away from the wall, then yeah, you would have to, you know, increase that number. But just don't go too crazy with the number. Alright, so there's that one. Let's do stall 10. Should be this one right here. $44.26. 44.26 and the D lat 35.95. Okay. Alright, so we'll do 9.5. Alright, so that's for stall 10. Now, sometimes what you can do, one of two things. You can either put a space so we know where you left off, or you can just make a comment out here like this. The game is not going to read that, so just to kind of know where you left off, and you just got to move that. But the fact that I don't want to screw up as far as where these actual gaps are in the wall, that's kind of what we're using these for. I could do this too, just to add to it. This would be just add a notation in here to go pit wall opening. That way I know what that represents. Let's do like one of these numbers. Let's add another line. Yeah, let's do that. So then what I can do here, so it's like I said, a couple different ways you can do this. So like you can just add a space. That way you know where you're left off. So now I'm on 11. I'll just keep moving that up. But I'm not losing my pit wall opening here. Okay, so we got, this was 8, 9, 10. So now we'll do 11. This one here. So that position. 33.42. Not too far off, actually, from what it already was. And then the D lat. $36.18. Okay. And then again, leaving the rotations alone. So now I can just take this out, go after 11, so I know that's done. So we'll do the next one. Now, another thing is, as you do these pit stalls, you can necessarily chunk these out as you do them. That's another indication as far as which ones you've gotten done. Because I've got some visual cues here as far as where I'm at, you know, with this line being wonked out and whatever. I'm just going to use that as my guide, so I can just kind of slide this over like so. So I know this is the last one I did. As you do these pit stalls, it may necessarily behoove you to just chunk these out, delete these jigs out as you do them. That way you know where you left off as you slide this around, because it can be pretty hard, I guess, to tell where you left off as you move here. If you don't do that, and you could necessarily be pointing on, I guess, one that you've already done. So you're kind of saving time, I guess, if you chunk them out. Because I'm only focusing on these particular stalls for the time being, and I've got these visual cues as to where I finished off last, I can just use that. And I can verify that too. This was 8, 9, 10. This is the last one I did, so this is my next one. Right there. This one right here. As I move this over, it's this one right here I need next. Alright. 23.62. Like that, and then our D-lat. .11, okay. 36.11. There we go. So then I'll do this. So I know those are done. So I can leave that like that, and I'll put this, let me copy this here like this. And this is just to help remember as far as what all these spaces mean. So this space means where I left off. These are the actual pit wall openings. You can put whatever you want in there. I just seem to make more sense, I guess, to do it that way. Alright, so at least those I want to check. So this is what we're going to test in game right now. Very shortly here. So what I've got laid out right now, I got 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So all from this stall this way, I got those all in the track I-9, and we can test each one of those now. So each one of these, I'll just adjust the stall 0 to those positions so I can test those in the game. So I'm going to save this to, that should save right to our track folder, in-game track folder here. So this should be, where did I save that? A second here. Wait a minute. There we go. It just didn't adjust on me. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's saved. Good deal. Now, from here, what we can do is we can actually test that in the game. So what'll happen is when I go into testing, our stall will actually spawn in this spot. So let me zoom this out. Here's where it's at. So instead of spawning here, where we had it, we swapped it over to this point. So right in front of this opening, we should be right behind this opening right here. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and save over this one again because I moved that up a little bit, just so I have that. So I'm just going to save over that. Being that it's just a minor change there, I'm going to go ahead and save over that. It wasn't a major change. I just moved that one up there so I could get that center point. So, just so I have that. But it's still a separate PTF than any of my other ones is all. Definitely don't want to save over an existing. Don't give yourself that headache. Okay, so let's minimize all this. I'm gonna leave this all open, and then what I want to do is set up profiler here to NASCAR Racing 2003. Let's make some adjustments here. There. So now I can launch that. And I'm going to need to bring my wheel over here for a second, so give me just a moment. Actually, I'm going to turn that off. There we go. Okay, so let's just bring my wheel over here for a second, so excuse me. Alright, there we go. So now, yeah, I'll set up here. Let's launch the game. Now, I didn't make any changes to the PTF. The only adjustments I've made is just to the track I. Might tend to question, it's like, well, you added that the pit jigger to the PTF. I don't need that for in the game. Okay, I'm only using that as it's going to be a throwaway PTF. I use that pit jigga just to get the coordinates, I guess, for those pit stall locations. So I haven't really made any changes to the track PTF as far as visually or geometrically or anything like that. So yeah, we're going to we'll use this Winston Cup 98 mod by Splash and Go. It's a pretty fantastic mod, so I'm going to go ahead and go into testing. And that's where we should spawn. So we're on Earthworks Bowl. So we should spawn in that position. Make sure I got it set up in here. Doesn't really matter. Just gonna go like this. And there we are. Oops, put the brake on here. So yeah, we're right in that stall. So let's do right here. We can see. I'm gonna back this up here. Back up here, and we'll give our pit guys. So you can see it's already off the bat. It's kind of clipping. I can't make a. Here, hold on a second. Yeah, there we go. So you can see the guys are kind of clipping right in the wall here a little bit. So that tells me the rotation's got to go right off the bat. It's got to go counterclockwise a tad. Not a whole lot. Just a little bit. We'll play this through. Show you what I mean. There we go. Yep. See, they are clipping in it. So it's going to have to go counterclockwise just a tad. So that's the adjustment we'll make to it. Not too bad, you know, for the most part. Not that bad at all. Cool. Awesome. Alright, so that one we need to move that one counterclockwise. So I'm going to get out of that. And this is what I'll do for each pit stall. Just adjust them all accordingly. Test it in the game and actually make whatever appropriate adjustments I need. So I'm going to move this counterclockwise. And I'm going to use my little diagram here. So counterclockwise. We need that to be a positive number. As it says right here, the more positive rotation is counterclockwise. Right? And I had to do this because it's just like I always forget. So it's just like it's just helps someone. It's more in a negative rotation that's clockwise. And counterclockwise is a more positive number. So when I need to rotate this, and I want to go small. It's not, you saw how much it needed to turn. That's very, very minimally. It's not that much. So probably what I'll do is just like a 0.5. That might even be too much. Let's do, yeah, let's try a 0.5. 50. And we'll test that out. So we'll save it. And I'm saving this right to the game directory. So that's about the only thing I usually have saved right. And that way I can keep going back into the game and testing it. It's better to do this in testing mode too, as probably fair mention as well. But I'll do this for each individual stall. Oh, see that little bit? See, I need to go 0.005. See, this is what I was talking about as far as like very small adjustments. See how much that moved that? It's way too much. that's probably a good example of that too. I move that way too much. Small adjustments make a big difference. So that's probably a good thing it happened that way. Alright, so what did I do here? 0.5. Yeah, I need to do this at 0.05. There we go. Very, very minimally. And actually, now that I think of that, let me look at my diagram. That actually moved it clockwise. That's weird. It's almost like it's going in the wrong direction. What the heck? Negative. No, that didn't go counter. Now I think of it. Man, it's threw me a curve here. Okay, let me just go check it again. It's yeah. Kind of, yeah, when I initially saw that, it's like, whoa. That perfect example, though, as far as like why you don't want to go too extreme on this. So, like, if I would have done a 1, it would have been totally wonked out. So, very small. So, we're only talking about 5/100ths of a. Yeah, and these are radians. Remember that, too. These aren't degrees. That's in radians. So, save that just to make sure it's saved. And go back in there and check it. Alright, Let's see what we got here now. Yeah, see, even that's a little too much. It did turn, you can see, you can kind of tell how it's skewed. Here, let me back it up here. It'll probably look better. But you can see it did turn it that way. So yeah, I think we're in the right direction. We got the right idea. No, actually, that would have to be negative. What the heck? Interesting. Okay. So yeah, you can see all the guys are clipping into the wall. That means we can probably put it at a minus, which kind of goes against my diagram, but you get the idea as far as how this works. Very minor adjustments. You want to make small adjustments, not huge. So let's try putting this at a minus. It's kind of going against my diagram, but it might even be the orientation of the center line, because that's what that's based on. That's probably what's going on with that. So basically all these coordinates that you're applying here are based on the center line, wherever the center line is. So let me look at this real quick. So our center line is right here. So so the fact that, oh, I see what it's doing. I never noticed that before. Okay. That makes perfect sense then as far as why it's doing that. So because it's more on the outside of this wall, so it's like it's, instead of being in the traditional sense, you know, the center line of the track, that's potentially why a little bit different scenario, I guess, with that. So bottom line, what to take from this is that very small changes you want to make, what you see in the game when you test it in the game. So it's like, unless you can see that major difference, like when I made that huge change, if it's like that, then you want to make a huge adjustment. If it's very minimal change, then it's just a very small number. So kind of use your judgment. So what I need to do is apply a minus to this, so it goes the other direction, like so. And I'll save that. Now we'll test that out. Let's go into the game and check that out. Like I said, you'll do this for every pit stall. All right. Let's see. Let's back it up. See, that looks better already. You can kind of see what I was talking about. See, now they're not clipping into the wall as much. That's almost perfect right there, actually. All right, so let's make a pit stop here. Give it some practice. Oh, I probably didn't go back far enough. Trigger. There we go. Now they're over the wall. See, they're standing on the wall. That's what we're looking to do. The wheels aren't clipping into it. So that's cool. Perfect. Wonderful. This is going to work. Marvelous.
Hey, go, go, go.
Cool. I guess that works. Alrighty then. So we can actually, I like to watch the replay of it too this way. So you can see the orientation. They're not clipping into the wall. Beautiful. That pit stall I will call good to go. So we'll just move right on to the next one. So you kind of get the idea of the process of this. Okay, so we'll adjust the next one. So we'll move the stall 0. So what we'll do is we'll put stall 8 back here. Yep, we're going to put stall 8 back here. That's verified. And then we'll put stall 0 here. Then we'll be in the next stall, and we'll put 9 up here. Just basically flip-flopping is all. So now we'll be in the next stall. We'll check that one out. Now I could, going into it, you know, it's like I can initially just go ahead and apply this 0.5. Always want to test it in game first, because it may necessarily be fine. Okay, so always test it in the game first, just to verify that it does need to be adjusted or not. 1 degree of rotation equals, yeah, it's a very fine number. I know that. Thanks for pointing that out too. I know I can't even exactly remember what the actual number is. I usually use that convert, you know, as far as degrees and radians, and yeah, I know it's a very small number. Yeah, so yes, just like James pointed out there. Yeah. Okay, so let's check out this stall. Wait a minute. Did I not save it? I must not have saved it. Whoopsie, still in the same stall. Hold on a minute. I might not have saved it. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I saved it. Yeah, I don't think I did. I think I changed it, but I didn't save it. So let's go save. Alright. There we go. Now we're in there install. Okay, so back it up. Yep, same deal here. So yeah, so I could have probably done that initially, but without testing in the game first, you can see how they're. You can see how these guys are clipping into the wall. So that needs to be rotated about the same, at least. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, we'll just do that right off the bat. We already know that needs to be adjusted. Alright, so we'll adjust this one. I'm just going to copy this to here. And then we'll save it. And test it on the game. Thinking that's probably going to be pretty good. Yep, pretty good. Not clipping in the wall anymore. Cool. So let's go like this. Give him some practice. Beautiful.
Okay, go, go, go.
Marvelous. Alright, let's check that out in replay. See how it looks this way. See, what I look for is to see if the tires are clipping into the wall or not, as well as just the overall animations of the... See, and I'm kind of shallow, short the box, too. I'm not 100% in the middle, so it should work pretty much anywhere. As long as this, there's a fine deviation, I guess, from the middle there, as long as you're generally in the middle in that pit stall. You can even be cockeyed if you want there. You know, it's... Your guys will animations for the pit crew, what I say, but you can see how they're all behind the wall. They're not clipping into the wall. You saw the tires not clipping into the wall. That's basically the main reason, I guess, for getting the pit stall set. You know, as far as using the jig and whatever. So cool, good there. Moving right along. So we'll go to the next stall. How are we doing on time? Okay, I got about another 10-15 minutes or so. I've got some pointed duties to attend to, but yeah, we're making good time. Getting a lot accomplished today. So yeah, we want to move this stall. Put 9 back here. And make this stall 0. And then put stall 10 up here. Like so. So we're just swapping them. That's all we're doing. So now we're going to be in the next stall. Save that. Test it out in the game. Alright, so we're in our next stall. And it's looking about the same. We could probably go a little bit more on this one. It's kind of clipping in a little bit more than the others. So I could probably go a negative 0.07. It's kind of a little bit more on this one here. So, okay. We'll do that. And just to kind of give you an idea of just how fine-tuned, I guess, the Just really small numbers, really small adjustments. It makes a big difference. Okay. So this one we're gonna do. Just copy this for a moment. What the heck? Paste that, and we're gonna put this at 0.7. That'll be a little bit more rotation. Just a little bit more, not a ton. So we'll do a save. Check that out. So I'm at least gonna do these first shoe stalls that I you know, got into the INI, and that's, I'll probably call it good there, and then I'll follow the same process, I guess, for the rest of the stalls. Alright. Yep, that's pretty good right there. Yep, they're on the wall. Tires are not clipping into the wall. Cool. Yeah, and I'm relatively short in the box again as well, so just keeping that in mind.
Okay, go, go, go.
Alright, check the replay. Yep, pretty good there. So that clip in there. This tire here I noticed on both those other ones too, and it's because of that bow that's there. This, as long as it's not clipping into the wall. That's the way I look at it, as far as like, I'd rather be hanging out there more than it is than to be clipping into the wall. It's very aesthetically, it's kind of, no, it's not kind of, it is pretty aesthetically distasteful. Let's put it that way. Alright, so. Alright, so 2 more stalls to do. Let's do, put 10 back here. Okay. And we'll make this 0. And then put 11 up here. Just swapping it up. So now we'll be in the next stall. So save that. Test that out. Yep, so about the same there. Actually, that can probably go back to just a 0.5, 0.05. Not quite as much of a clip there. Cool. Alright. Kind of get the idea of this as far as going in and out. You would have to restart the game every time. You can't just, it's not real-time adjustments. So like I couldn't make this adjustment and go back in there and automatically apply. So that's probably a fair mention as well. Have to close the game out for the changes to take effect. So let's put this at 0.05. Oops. There we go. Save that. And we'll do at least one more stall before we're done here. Yep, pretty good there. Now, keeping in mind too, something else I noticed, and I'm sure that infield object that James has got there, you can see these guys are actually floating. So as far as the, yeah, it's kind of, there's nothing really to correct that as far as to, there's no way to adjust the pitch of the pit stalls. So because of the way this, yeah, there's no way to do that. The only way you can really accommodate that is to adjust your geometry, I guess, to that. So even if it is in the form of an actual F section and or just an object, you know, for that to, because it's kind of hard to tell. I guess, let me see if I can back up here, but they are floating because of the way the, see that it is floating. I don't know if that's, you can tell, but they are floating. Something else I just noticed, it might be, okay, hold on a second, let me check this. I might have rotated that too much, or not enough. Let me see here. Alright, let's try.
Okay, go, go, go.
Alright, So I'm going to back it up again. Yep, it's clipping on the other end now. So, and that's what I wanted to test. This is actually what we test. So I'm probably going to have to go. Let's see. Okay, so I need to rotate it more clockwise. So that's going to have to be more negative. So I got to lower that number. I went a little too far. So you can see them clipping on the other end now. They're actually clipping on this end now, as opposed to this end. So I made it too big of an adjustment. So I have to lower that number as far as the rotation. So let's do that. And this is why I wanted to do these, because I know we had that issue, I guess, with the bow, even in the sandbox. So I got that at 0.05. I'm going to go 0.3 on this one. Test that out. Save. And we'll test that out. Very minimal, as far as your numbers. Yeah, they're still clipping there. I'll be damned. That's got a heck of a bow right there. So yeah, you can still see they're clipping right here. Alright, let's back this up. And they're clipping there too, so it's kind of equal. I guess as far as how much they're clipping. So I might almost have to move it, move the D-lat somewhat now. Okay, fair enough. No problem. Just a very minor adjustment to the D-lat, which is the distance from the wall, as far as laterally as opposed to longitudinally. Alright, so D-lat I'm going to adjust now. So I'm going to leave the rotation where it's at. So go to my diagram. So on the D-lat, if I want to move it further from the oh, I'm looking at the wrong ones. What the heck? I didn't understand my own English here. Okay, so I need to lower that D-lat in order to bring it away from the wall. That's considering, these comments that I made here is determining moving the on this side of the wall, not this side. So the fact that I want the pit crew, I guess, to go further away from the wall, I want to actually move, like where the tires would land, closer to the wall, right? So I want to actually increase that number by a little bit, not lower it. So I want to increase the D-lat on this one. Right now it's at 36.18. I'm just going to go up to like 2.2. Very minimal adjustment, not huge. So let's do that and save it. We'll test it. So it was at 36.18 originally. And we'll go in here and test it. Still clipping a little bit. Not so bad on this end. Maybe a little bit more. A tad bit more. Alright, let's go a little bit more. Probably another couple hundredths. So 2.2, we'll go 2.4. Okay. Save that. And you're gonna have these fine tunes like this, it's kind of really tough, especially on these when you got these bows and stuff in the wall to deal with like we do. Curve pits are gonna be a real pain in the butt, that's for sure. The curve stall. Yeah, that's better. Cool. It's not clipping in there as much. And it's good there too. Cool. Alright. Alright, let's test it out here. Very good, yes, that'll work. So that tire's good. That tire's good. I think we're marvelous. Beautiful.
Okay, go, go, go.
Nice pit stop, guys. Getting lots of practice. Alright, so let's check the replay. Yeah, it's even kind of hard to tell in this view here, but they are definitely floating. So, yep, tires are clear of the wall. Even this dude standing here with the fuel can, he's still on that side of the wall. It's not clipping. Wonderful. So that one's done. Cool. We can get a sense of, I guess, of very small adjustments, I guess, to the eye now. You don't want to go super huge. Very minimal. Small numbers. Okay, so we want to put this at 11. That one's good to go. And switch this to 12. And then we're going to switch this 12 to 0. So our car spirals in this position. And then we're going to save that. And go test it out. Okay, so we're already clipping on this end. And clipping not quite as much on this end, so we got a little bit of rotation and probably a D-lat as well. Yep. So probably do a 0.02 on the rotation and increase the D-lat by just a tad. Alright. Just taking mental notes here. So we got to increase the D-lat a tad and apply a rotation of like a 0.02. Okay, so we're going to do this and increase this number. We're going to do 1.5. I'm going to do 1.6. Whoops, I went the wrong way. 3.616. Here, let me do an undo. I screwed up bad. Yeah, put that backward. So I want to put this at a 1.6. Okay, and we'll save it. Test it out. Alright, so he's still clipping there. And he's clipping there about the same. So we got to go more up on the D-lat. And what I'm looking at, I don't know if you can see that. You can see his knees clipping into the wall. They're about equal here, so I just got to increase that D-lat a little bit so it moves it more this way. That's all I'm doing. Alright. Alright, so we need to increase that just a little bit more, and we'll go right to 2.0. There we go. Let's make sure I save that and just in the game. This will be the last one I'll do for today. Oh, that looks good so far there. And it looks pretty good there. He's clipping just a little bit. I think that's tolerable. It's not quite as bad. Let's back up. Give him some more. Yeah, you can. I don't know if you can really see that, but you can really see it's floating for sure. So I'll have to get those files from you, James, I guess, as far as I'm assuming that'll correct a lot of that. I'm hoping. That looks kind of funky as far as like the war wagon's floating there. Alright, test them all here. That tire's good. That tire's good. I'm also watching where they're standing. They're still on that side of the wall, so that's cool.
Okay, go, go, go.
And these guys are just knocking these pit stops out. And we'll check it in the replay. So that tire's good. That tire's good. Fantastic. Alright, so those pit stalls are complete. So I'll have to do that to the remaining pit stalls. And I'll probably do some of that work offline. And I'll hopefully maybe present that, I guess, next time around. So that's about all I have to go over with today. I do appreciate everybody stopping by here and checking out what I had going on here. And hopefully it was somewhat of a help. if nothing else, I guess to have some understanding of what goes into, I guess, building such of these tracks, like they're of a scratch built nature. I haven't mentioned this before, but James, I want to say thanks, I guess, for even allowing me, I guess, to assist, I guess, in this build of yours. And even if it is just minuscule stuff like this, as far as like every little detail counts. I think it's like when you're going to build something from scratch, you know, there's an art into it as far as to make it. And I think this track definitely does deserve all the love and attention, I guess, to make it as great as it can be. I guess as far as I know, James, you had mentioned that you've got the grandstands already started, so that's going to be a huge application, I guess, to this track for sure. There's not a whole heck of a lot going on with the track itself as far as infield items and stuff like that. There are some garages and stuff like that, but it's a very how do you want to say it? It's not very involved, as far as like there's not a lot going on with it, like some other tracks like Richmond and Martinsville, where it's got a lot of noise going on in the center and in infield and such. It's a very calm track, I guess, is like a better way to put it. So, and I'm sure that's probably one of the premises, I guess, as far as why I feel to do, build such and such like this, because there's not a lot going on with it. It's very simple. It's not complex, but it does have a lot of the nuances of a traditional track, having grandstands and garage area and stuff like that. So, well, like I said, as I've said, that's pretty much all I have for tonight. If there's no other questions, I guess, in the chat, I hope you stop by, I guess, for next time. I plan on going again next Saturday as well. Hopefully we'll have something else to showcase, I guess, as far as the progression, I guess, of this scratch build of North Wilkesboro. I do necessarily want to thank everybody again for dropping in, and hope to see you next time. Feel free to check out the social medias. We'll put that tag out there, I guess, I always spell that wrong, I don't know why. And I'm sure it probably did already come up in the bot already, but there's all my social medias as far as the Discord, the Twitter, the SDS Facebook group page. All the information, I guess, as far as what's going on in the background, offline, and all that stuff, as far as when the streams go live, what's going on and what's potentially going on in the channel. Feel free to check all those out at your leisure. Again, thank you so much. I know Zam came in with the raid. Appreciate that. Didn't really have any new followers or anything like that, which is perfectly okay. Hopefully that'll change within the coming days. So I'm just going over. Where is my? Hold on. Just checking my event list here to see what I missed, possibly. Nope. I guess I did not miss anybody. Okay. It's a pretty quiet day today, and that's perfectly okay. I'm hoping, like I said, as far as for these things to change, I guess, as time progresses on here. I know it's been a while since I've been streaming, so yeah, I want to put the word out there as far as like what we got going on here. We got lots more going on. I know, at least for myself. There's a lot of farm sim stuff I'd definitely like to be able to show off, and still, keeping in line with doing a lot of the NR 2003 stuff and other things as well. So again, appreciate everybody stopping by. Hope to see you again next time. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.